Hi guys! So in this video we are starting lesson 32. So it is session 1 and it's page 695. I just have mine printed out on paper because my group for Math Success already finished session 1 and 2 of this lesson. So if you are in my group for Math Success, you probably have these pages done already, just session 1 and session 2. So you can use these to go back through and use it as like a refresher because it's been a couple weeks since we've done this. Or you can skip ahead to section 3 or session 3. But I know I have students watching from Mrs. Vogel Wilson's group who have not done this part, and Miss Ball's students. So if you have not yet finished session 1 or 2, this video is for you. Lesson 32 is all about adding and subtracting with angles. So in the previous lesson, 31, that we did at school together, we measured angles. So we used the protractors to measure, the angles. So in degrees, how large is an angle. And we also classified them into different groups: right angles, obtuse, and acute angles. So we're going to use that knowledge to solve these problems in this lesson. And I told my class it's not the E word. I don't want to say it's easy, but all we're doing is adding angle measurements together. So they might give you two angles and you just have to add them together, or, subtract them. We're adding and subtracting. So we'll work through these ones, but it might be kind of an easier lesson, so that's nice. And this first problem is a super quick one. So it says Flora cuts a rectangular sheet of paper into two pieces on the dotted line. So she has this piece of paper. It's kind of hard to see. It's a white piece of paper on a white background, but she has this paper. She cuts it here on the dotted line, okay? And it says, what is the sum keyword, of the measures of angle A and angle B? So here's angle A, this corner right here, and angle B is just the other side after she cuts it. So here's an acute angle, and here is an acute angle. So it's just, what is the sum of them? So when we put it back together, what is the angle measurement of this corner? That's all it's asking. And sum is adding, right? So if you were to add angle A plus angle B, what would it be? So angle A plus angle B equals question mark. And they want to know how many degrees would that angle be, this total angle. So if you remember back from lesson 30 and 31, when we were learning about angles and measuring them, a perfect square corner is called a right angle. And a right angle is how many degrees? Exactly, always. 90 degrees. Okay, so those two together, A plus B, would be 90 degrees. And that's it for that whole problem. That's all you need. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the page. All right, number 1, look back, explain how to find the sum of the measures of angle A plus B. So how did we know that this plus this was going to equal 90? I could say that I knew that angle A plus angle B made a right angle, and right angles always measure 90 degrees. Okay, so angle A plus angle B formed a right angle. And right angles are always 90 degrees. Okay, number 2, look ahead. You can decompose or break apart. So decompose means break apart any angle into smaller angles that do not overlap. So look at the 10-degree angle below. So from here, this bottom ray to the top ray is 10 degrees. Okay, and remember right here would be the vertex. So here's the first ray at 0 degrees, and the top ray is at 10 degrees. So you could decompose it into 10 different 1-degree angles. And in my class, we always wanted to count the spaces, don't count the lines. Okay, so see this little red dash right there? That's 1 degree. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so just double checking, 10 degrees. How many 1-degree angles make up the 10-degree angle? How many 1 degrees did I count? I counted 10. Sorry, you're crooked. B, look below at one way to decompose a 10-degree angle. You can write an equation to show the measures of the 10-degree angle is the sum of the angle measures of the two smaller angles. Fill in the blanks in the equation. So the whole thing is 10 degrees, but this little dashed line breaks it apart. It decomposes it into a 4-degree angle plus a 6-degree angle. So there's the equal sign, not the plus sign. So 10 degrees equals 4 degrees plus 6 degrees. See, that's what I'm talking about. We can do that. We can do that math, right? It's just addition, even single-digit addition. That's all we're doing. It's not bad. So below is another way to decompose a 10-degree angle. Write an equation to represent the angle measures that combine to form the 10-degree angle. So again, 10 degrees is the full thing, so 10 degrees equals, and they're adding a 3-degree angle plus a 7-degree angle. 3 degrees plus 7 degrees. That's it. Not bad. Okay. Reflect. What are 2 other ways you can decompose a 10-degree angle? Write 2 equations. So what are 2 more ways you can add some numbers together to make 10? I could do 10 degrees equals 9 degrees plus 1 degrees. That would work. You could also say 10 degrees equals 8 degrees plus 2 degrees. 10 degrees, I know it only said 2 equations, but you could have any of these, right? They already did 3 and 7, so I'm not going to do that one here. They already did 6 and 4, but you could do 5 degrees plus 5 degrees. And I think that's all my options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or 10 degrees and 0 degrees, but you wouldn't be, there's no 0-degree angle, right? All right, next page. Okay, we're already on the practice pages. It's nice. So green pages are your practice pages, but it's still part of session 1. In the giant, I don't know, it's on a bubble map. I guess there's a bubble in the middle, but in our little graph chart, that's the word. Been out of school for too long. In our chart about the word decompose, they want us to say it in our own words, illustration, so a picture, draw a picture of decomposing, an example, and a non-example, so not decomposing over here. So in my own words, decomposing means to break apart or to break into parts. I read that on the previous page. To break into parts. Or you could have said to break apart, to break into smaller parts, anything about breaking apart. And then we need an illustration. So I could use one of the drawings from the previous page, like one of these that they did for the 10-degree angles, or you could make up your own any angle measurement. I'm going to start with my vertex. I don't have a protractor at home, and I'm assuming you guys don't either. So our angles are just going to be approximate. They don't have to be exact. No one's checking that. So I'm just going to say that it's about a 45-degree angle. So the whole thing I'm going to say is 45 degrees. But I'm going to do like, you know, their little dashed line like they did. Okay. And I'm going to say that this one is 10 degrees. So if this is 10 degrees, what would be the rest of it? What could I decompose 45 into? It could be 10 degrees and 35 degrees. Or you could do any angle you want for your illustration, for your picture, okay? It doesn't have to be 45. But if you're gonna do something over 90, make sure you're drawing an obtuse angle, not an acute angle. So anything over 90. See, this part right here is 90 degrees, but maybe that part right there is 20 degrees. So the whole angle would be 110 degrees, and 110 is greater than 90, so that's an obtuse angle. So that's an example you could have done also. Examples, so just like the equations we just did. 35 degrees plus 10 degrees equals 45 degrees. Or 90 degrees plus 20 degrees equals 110 degrees. Anything at all you want, okay? Any equations that show that this number can be decomposed into these two numbers. And then non-examples. I guess just a way that doesn't work. So 45 degrees does not equal 40 degrees plus 10 degrees? Sure, that is not a correct way to decompose 45. Great, moving on, number 2. Okay, look at one way to decompose a 30-degree angle. You can write an equation to represent the sum of the measures of the angles that combine to form the 30-degree angle. Fill in the blanks of the equation. So using this picture, the total angle it shows is 30 degrees from the top ray to the 0-degree ray. 30 degrees. 30 degrees equals, and what are my two smaller angles that it was decomposed into? There's 10 degrees plus a 20 degrees. Done. 3 stars. Because there's 3 blanks. All right, next page. Last page, I think. Last page. Nice. Okay. Number 3. Solve the problem, show your work. Shadi, I think is how you say that name. Shadi, I don't know. Cuts a rectangular strip of construction paper into 2 pieces on the dotted line. So here's the construction paper. They cut it right here. And then it shows once it's cut, here's angle A, here's angle B. What is the sum of the measures of angle A plus B? Explain how you know. So we don't have a protractor. They didn't tell us what these measure to be. I don't know what degrees A is. I don't know what degrees angle B is. But what are they together? What would be the sum of both of them? Okay, so this is exactly like the first problem. Just like this one. How do we know what the sum is? What is that measure? Okay, so you should know that that's a perfect square corner. Okay, we, in my class, used pieces of paper or Post-it notes, used their corners to measure or to check to see if certain angles on our worksheets in our workbook were perfect square corners. So a corner of a construction paper is going to be a perfect right angle, so it's 90 degrees. So we'll say the sum of angle A and angle B is 90 degrees. But it says explain how you know, so I can't end there. I'm going to say because the corner of the paper is a right angle. And then I could go on to say, you know, right angles are always 90 degrees, but I know that. Okay, and then check your answer, show your work. So we don't have protractors at home. Or if you do have a protractor at home for some reason, you could use a protractor to measure A and B and then add them together here. I'm just gonna tell you guys what each one is. Angle A, angle B, and then we'll just add them together and double check that it makes 90, okay? So angle A is 30 degrees and angle B is 60 degrees. Okay, so if I add those together, 30 degrees plus 60 degrees, I could stack them and add them. I could just use my place value knowledge to know that 3 10s and 6 10s makes 9 10s, which is 90 degrees. Checked. Done. Star, star. Okay, next video will be lesson 32, session 2. I'm just doing the exact same stuff. See you there.